Ultimate Deck Podcast. Need a show about outdoor living? This is where it's at with your hosts, Shane Chapman and Way Laurent. Thank you for tuning in. Now let the show begin. Yeah. The Ultimate Deck Podcast. Let's go.
Good morning, world. Wade and Shane here with the Ultimate Deck Podcast.
Is this the first podcast we've done in the morning?
That's
like
I don't know
outside,
for sure, but I put money on that.
Outside of the shows that we go to.
Sure, yeah.
Like
our own self-scheduled.
I don't ever remember recording a podcast in the morning
before like
studio.
3 o'clock even. It's like, and it's what, 9? It's like 9 a.m.
9 o'clock.
Got
it was supposed to be 8.
It's supposed to be 8. That slowly eroded.
Ugh.
But anyway, so I got all my Under Armour stuff last night. Wade and I have been on a kick of purchasing Under Armour gear because they've had some
they
great
like shipped
sales
to your
online.
house?
Yeah. Well, I don't know what's in the box. There's a box of Under Armour shit at my house right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the shoes I ordered, the polos I ordered, like the golf shirts I ordered, or the hoodies that I ordered. It won't be the hoodies because they're coming here.
Yeah, I ordered all my stuff to come here.
But either my shirts or the shoes are at my house. It must be the shirts. It's a bigger box. Or maybe it's both. I haven't opened it yet. But they've had some great sales on lately, and we're like, let's snatch this shit up because we can use it for work shirts, and like the shoes are personal. I don't even remember what the hell I bought. Oh yeah, just some runners. But then like shirts for work, like collared golf shirts.
Yep.
And then they have some smoking deals on hoodies, and we tried to bulk buy a whole bunch of them to like print, but
we set the alarms off.
Keep canceling our orders. It's like we'll try like. Maybe if you order 9 instead of 6.
60.
It's like we're trying all sorts of things. It's like, okay, fingers crossed. Next day, canceled. Come on. Do you want to sell hoodies or not?
Yeah. I hope when they show up, they're as good as I...
Well, they're not going to show up. The ones
No. The ones that did come.
Yeah.
Like we got some that are...
But those aren't the ones that...
heathered blue.
Yeah, and they're good. The color's not exactly what we were looking for. And those ones were like 28, 80 or something like that per hoodie, which is still really good for Under Armour hoodie. But the ones we were trying
80
to get
when you
25.
Yeah, like when you go to buy them brand
Canadian.
New. Yeah.
That's a cup of coffee to our American friends.
In freedom dollars.
In freedom dollars, yeah. What did you do last night? We were supposed to play some hockey. You did not play hockey.
I didn't do anything.
Really tweaked the hell out of your back.
It's just
you and your dog are a hurting unit.
We're hurting units. Yeah. So I tweaked my back this summer, but it just slowly gets worse and worse and worse is what's happening. Because I haven't, when you have like a small rattle in your truck and you don't deal with it, and then you just
turns into a big rattle.
All of a sudden the door falls off.
Yeah.
The door is falling off. So
that's fair.
I'm just banged up. I hurt my back this summer playing golf, and I never really did anything to deal with it. And now I have to. Yeah. I have to like massage and chiro and take drugs and stretch. And so we were supposed to play hockey last night, and I was in, and then I got home and I laid down. I just not that I actually couldn't get up, but it was hard. Yeah. So I was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm this hurt. Why am I going to go play hockey?
At some point I need to take time off from hockey. It might as well be now. So
I watched the very first NHL games last night. So Bedard played against Crosby last night. So it was like, and they did the audio for that, right? So the very first opening draw of the game, Pittsburgh versus Chicago, is Bedard versus Crosby, and they lined up, and the ref skates up to drop the puck, and he's like, "Hey, Connor, welcome to the NHL. Yeah. Let's have a good game." Yeah. Could you imagine? Like, that gives me like goosebumps just hearing that, and I'm not even him. I wasn't even there. Yeah. So you line up against your idol, and then you go to have the face off. Like, he lost the draw because Sid's one of the best face off guys in the world.
It wasn't close. But
yeah. I think Bedard went 1-8 or 1-9 in the face off circle. And so they interviewed him after, and he's like, the guys are pretty quick up here.
Yeah. Because in the dub, he was like a 58% or something like that.
He was really good.
Like a draw winner.
Yeah.
So like definitely skewed in his favor.
Yeah.
It's like, first one lines up, bam, straight back to the D guy. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Big boy is up here.
But he seems to be like.
He did okay. He got an assist. He got a point in his first game. So
and like 11 shot attempts or something like that. Like, he was for sure on the puck.
He was all over the ice. And the other thing that I noticed, so I don't follow hockey close enough to actually know that this had happened, but Chicago obviously put together a team for him. So Taylor Hall is on the team. Corey Perry is on that team. Yep. There's some big changes that happen in Chicago. So that looks like it'll be a fun team to watch this year.
Yep.
And then the doubleheader was Las Vegas versus Seattle Kraken.
Yep.
And so Vegas is such an awesome place to watch hockey. They have it's such a production. It's not a game, right?
Yeah.
So then they win the Stanley Cup. You don't just raise a banner. It's like a big production. It was it was fun to watch. So
yeah, it's funny
So
because
that's
I
what
was
I did.
thinking that last night too, because they had like a gigantic slot machine thing with 3 screens, and they pull the arm, and it's like goes through like the sevens. And that was cool. It was like very Vegas-y of them. But I was thinking, I was like, they have done such a great job. Like other teams around the league that are struggling, why aren't they looking at that? I mean, like look at the engagement that their fan base has.
Yes.
On a brand new team that has no history. Nobody in that freaking arena gave 2 shits about hockey before the night showed up.
So
they have made 20,000 fans out of people that were just not. And in a market that is the toughest market in the world to stand out from an entertainment perspective, and they've done it.
Exactly. You have to get people to leave the casino, which is the whole reason they go there.
Or the 6,000 other things to do every night
or
in
shows
Vegas.
or whatever, right? And they're crushing it.
Yeah.
Can you name anything to do in Scottsdale other than golf?
Yeah, no.
Right. And Phoenix can't get 10,000 people to go to a game.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't know, like maybe we could just sell hot dogs cheap. Maybe that'll get people there. It's so boring.
Yeah. And it's not like, obviously Vegas has put money into their production, obviously, but it's not like they're hiring bands that are costing them $500,000 to put on a intermission show or anything like that. Like they're doing cost. What am I trying to say? Like the amount of money they're spending isn't like it's some level that other teams can't get to.
Correct.
That's what I'm trying to say. They're not like, oh, we can't possibly do what they're doing. No, they have a good production. They pay attention. They have some videos, some shit animations in the A's. They just have good ideas. They change things up. They make it a vibe. The drummers up in the, whatever they call it, the castle. Like, it's just like a vibe there. They've created a vibe with spending like probably similar amounts to what most teams spend on their entertainment budget. Yep. Like most teams have what they do. They're just like,
I don't get it. Seattle has put on a pretty good program. They seem to have a really good base there, and they've drawn from that base.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I actually don't even understand why Phoenix still has a team, to be totally honest. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. They can't produce good hockey. They can't get fans. It's like Bettman likes golfing, so he has a team there so he can.
Yeah, it's like that's clearly the reason why they have a team is because Bettman has some sort of hard on for there. But why?
I don't understand.
Why are you so passionate about Scottsdale?
It's dumb. And then now their arena's gone. Now they play in the university or the college. Like they
Put
get
that team back in Quebec.
5,000 or anywhere. Put it in
anywhere.
Put it in Austin,
Quebec. Bring
Texas.
back the Nordiques.
Like,
come on. Or Portland.
Sure.
Houston. They've talked about a lot of places.
Houston would be fine. I don't know.
But Quebec. Come on. Before all those, like Portland, Houston, whatever. Portland or Quebec. Or go back to like Hartford. Like bring back one of the 80s teams. That'd be fun.
Yep.
Anyway, speaking of events, segue.
Well done.
Deck Expo is coming up.
That's right away.
So we're
Isn't
recording
it a month
this. Yeah, almost exactly. We're recording. What's today? October 11th is the day that this records. It will come out on the 15th or something.
16th is the Monday. Yeah.
Sure, 16th. So at the time that this records, it's going to be about 4 weeks away. Well, exactly 4 weeks away. So we're flying in on November 12th and we're out on November 16th. I think the show runs Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I think it runs all 3 days.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, which is that right?
Really long.
Or is it just
That's
education?
a really long show for what's there.
For what it is, yeah. Anyway, so we're going again as we always do. And we just booked our hotels, so we're staying at the Sahara. Never stayed there before. Didn't even really know what that was, but apparently it's completely renovated within the last couple of years. And great bang for your buck and right by the convention center. So
I just think wherever you stay, it doesn't ultimately it doesn't matter because I really know that every time we've gone there, we don't spend much time in our room. That's not where we are. Yeah, we walk the strip with the boys until midnight or 1 o'clock or later, and then it's in, crash, up at 8.
I really liked staying where we were. I think this was Deck Expo last year when we stayed at Paris.
Yes.
Which is very central on the strip, which is awesome.
Yeah.
The problem is to get to the convention center, it's a $30 Uber ride every day twice.
Yeah.
And so it's like you get a good deal to stay in the middle of the strip, but then you pay Ubers out the ass. Sahara is within walking distance, I think, and it's on the monorail line
Of the convention center.
Yeah,
We're
so
going
you
to
can
pay
get to and
out
from
the
the
ass in
convention
the
center.
evenings now.
Maybe, but that's one trip back, maybe
Yeah.
two. You might pay for it either way. You might be screwed either way, but nonetheless. So we're gonna stay there and trying to line up to get some tickets to go to the Sphere thing and see what that's all about.
Have you
'Cause
seen
that's
some of the Sphere videos?
Like a little bit, not a ton.
They have it's like right by a golf course.
Yeah.
And so they play this like face that
Oh yeah.
it sort of laughs at people while they're golfing.
Oh, serious?
And so it's just like what happens is the video just plays.
So there's separate screens on the inside and outside. Is that
I
right?
think
like what's
so.
playing in the outside is different from what's playing in the
I
inside.
believe
That's
so.
crazy. That thing.
So it's just like this big yellow face. And it's obviously a timing thing where people are just like they hit a shot and it's a bad shot. And then the Sphere, the guy, like it's a big yellow face that turns and then it like rolls its eyeballs. And it's like
amazing.
and so the guys are like, you're getting trolled by a screen. So
I like for the longest time when we were there, because we were there a couple times last year, once in November, once in January, and that thing was being built, and we kept asking, we were like, what is that? And often people didn't know, and I think one Uber driver was like, it's a concert hall or something. I was like, so strange. Why is it a giant ball? And then when it like opened and they started showing,
you two opened it, right?
I don't even remember. I just know I've seen a bunch of different things that they've played in the outside. It's like it's glowing as the moon, or it's like NBA playoffs and it's like a basketball sitting there spinning. I was like, that's cool as shit.
Yeah.
That's really neat. Where did we stay in January? I could not place this the other day. I was talking to somebody and was like, we stayed at Paris, and then in January at IBS, I could
Didn't
not.
we stay at the same place?
Oh, wait. I just remembered what it was now. Me and Tyler stayed at Rio,
Oh, yeah.
and you stayed on the strip where WRLA, like where Liz had a room or something at something. Anyways, that's what it was.
Right. Because somebody from WRLA backed out.
Yeah.
And then
so
I
we were
ended up
off the strip. Tyler and I were off the strip
At
then.
Rio,
And
yeah.
the same thing. Like every night you got an Uber ride back there, and there's like, it's huge. So the strip is long. So it doesn't matter where you stay, you're going to
billion
have
places.
to Uber around a little bit or monorail. Okay. So Deck Expo, we're going, and here's a bunch of reasons why we go. But here's a bunch of reasons why you should go. So these events, we like to go all the time, and a big part of it is a camaraderie and just like seeing guys every year that we see every year,
Yep.
and just like meeting up with them. That's I would say if you asked everybody what's your number one reason for going, it's probably that. It's probably like going to hang out with the guys.
Yep.
But there's a lot of
It's a
reasons to go to
networking
Deck
thing,
Expo,
right?
especially if you've never been. I think if you've been to the last 7 in a row, then some of these are like, I don't feel like I get that out of this anymore. But if you've never been before, here's 15 reasons why you should go.
Certainly.
Number 1, the networking opportunities. So we just kind of alluded to that. But if you're interested in just being part of the industry, then being at industry events is the best way to build those relationships.
Yeah, I think everybody. So this is a really funny thing, and we've talked about this quite a bit over the last year or a couple months with a few different people. But it's like it used to be such a tight group of guys on Instagram that were constantly sharing and constantly trying to improve each other's businesses.
Yeah,
and I feel like that has slowly like eroded. That's now like it's just not what it used to be, right?
Yeah.
And you shouldn't romanticize the past, and you shouldn't, you know what I mean? Like you shouldn't continue to just be like, oh, it was so good. I wish Hartford could have a team. It's like Hartford doesn't have a team because it wasn't any good. Quebec doesn't have a team because it wasn't any good.
Yeah.
So you need to adapt. You need to be more like Vegas, and you need to change what you're putting out there. And I think there's an opportunity for that to still happen at these events, right? I think what we have planned for this Deck Expo is a little bit more of that camaraderie and like, let's get back together and let's not have people influence and let's not have people pay to like change or direct us with what we're thinking or what products we want to spend our time with. It's like, we want to spend our time with people because that's who's making the changes, right? The contractors that are using a bunch of different boards and the contractors that are trying new building practices. And if you get to these events, they'll share with you. Everybody there will share with you because you're not in competition with them.
Right. And that, to your point, used to be the real, like if we're talking 6-7 years ago, that used to be the real value of going there. And what was really cool is that the the Instagram community that was growing at the time of just like contractors watching what other contractors are doing, popping into like the odd live here and there and just like chatting online. It was like this was an outlet to go and actually meet these people and like meet other experts of their craft and whatnot. And back then there wasn't this invasion of vendor dollars, and influencer marketing was not a big part of the average marketing strategy. Outside of maybe like at that time, Paul LaFrance probably had a Trex deal or something going on.
Yeah.
Jason Russell was starting to get
he would add some money from
acknowledgement
TimberTech
from somebody
right?
at that time, but that was it. So those guys were busy, but they weren't ever really super part of that clique that was growing and sharing to begin with anyway. So the vendors weren't pulling anything away because those guys are already too busy to even really like be involved in that online community too much.
Yeah, and that
Jason
doesn't that doesn't mean Jason didn't share, because he certainly did. He
100%.
was one of the guys that, like, I remember
shared more than anybody online.
Right.
Yeah.
We were trying to bend some Trex boards and he was very open and chatted, right? So
yeah, he's always been super approachable with and sharing his craft.
yeah.
But over the years, as influencer marketing grew and as some deck builders started to take the platforms more seriously and grow an audience and then intentionally try to monetize it, well, then the whole organic fabric of that community started to get torn apart because people were getting pulled in different directions. So all of a sudden, this guy signs a deal with decorators or something, and then this guy signs a deal with TimberTech, and this guy signs a deal with Trex, and this guy signs a deal. And then all of a sudden, all the big guys that people are going there to want to hang out with and shoot the shit with because they're following on Instagram. It's like, you're doing killer work, I want to chat with you. It's like, well, that guy's all busy and he's going to these events with somebody else. And it's like, no longer are we getting together as a community and just sharing expertise and knowledge and all that stuff, because we've all got these other plans.
Yep.
That we're forced into because of these
It's an
influencer
obligation.
marketing agreements.
And so then what happens is, like, you go there because you want to find out if these people are good dudes and you want to talk to them.
Yeah.
And then they're not good dudes. You can't talk to them because they're busy. And that's not actually true. Like, they're all pretty good guys, but they have to be at this event, this dinner.
Yeah.
And so then when you're like, hey, could we like chat? They're like, sorry, dude, I got to go. And it's like, you get blown off by the guy you want to talk to. And now your perception of who that person is changes. You're like, well, he's an asshole, which is unfortunate, because that's
even if you do manage to get into the inner circle of one of these vendor events, which you can if you care to.
Yeah.
You've just shrunk the size of your audience and shrunk the size of your encyclopedia of knowledge, of potential knowledge to gain.
Yeah.
Because everybody in that room now that you're talking to is
drinking the Kool-Aid.
like, I don't want
They're
to
drinking
say
the
it's a big
Kool-Aid.
circle jerk, but it's just like,
Yeah.
it's all raw, one brand. You're not learning the whys other people do, the way they're doing things. Everybody's just like, they all work the same brand. They're all like, they all can't say anything because, you know, if they have an actual issue with something, it's like, oh, I can't really say it because I'm here at this sponsored event.
Yep.
Anyway, so this is not what this podcast is about, but we're really going deep in this one. This has obviously been noticed by a number of people. Brendan Casey from Casey Fence and Deck just recently did an article in Deck Specialist magazine about this exact issue.
Yep.
It's like, what happened to the good old days of like actually caring and learning and not just getting not just having dollar signs in your eyes all the time.
Yep. And
then Scott Kelly, of course, made a Facebook post, which ended up on our podcast. And then we did a thing with that. Yep. So we've formed this group now on Instagram. And it's, what do we call it? The Old School Deck Builders Meetup or something like that.
I actually muted it the other day.
It was getting pretty wild as it gets closer to the event. So it's just, if you're interested in getting back to the basics for one day, for a few hours, on Monday, I think it is, that they're kind of planning around. Then we're trying to just go back and get this. So like a non-sponsored event, very informal. It's like we've reserved spots at a lounge.
Yep.
But it's just like, if you want to come and meet guys and shoot shit and just like share your craft like we used to, then that's what this is for. This is not sponsored by anybody.
Has Scott called this place and let them know that, like, we're going to bring a few people there? Like, what would be awful is if we showed up and there was like 2 servers there.
Yeah.
Because that's not going to work. Like,
I don't know how he did.
There'd be 50 people.
He said he made a reservation
or more.
I don't know. There's quite a few people in the group right now. So if you're interested in attending that thing, just shoot myself or Wade or the Ultimate Deck Shop Instagram account. Either the Shane Chapman, Wade J. Laurent, or the Ultimate Deck Shop.
Yeah.
And we'll invite you into that group.
You betcha.
And it's going to be very organic. It's just like a group of people. And it's like, here's what we're doing on, Monday at, don't quote this time, Monday at 4:00, whatever it's 3:00, 4:00. We're all going to meet at this place where we have reservation. We got this whole section in this place, and we're just going to go there and like have some drinks and order some wings and talk shop.
Yeah. And the intent behind it is that you can go talk to anybody in the room.
Right.
And you can ask them any question because it's not sponsored. Nobody's picking up the tab. You're paying for your own drinks.
Exactly. You will have a tab at the end of the night here.
You're buying your own cigars, but what comes with that is freedom of speech.
You're going to meet some dudes who love Trex. You're going to meet some dudes who love decorators. You're going to meet some wolf guys. You're going to meet some guys who work with wood only. You're going to meet some guys who do staining and some guys that don't do staining. And you're going to meet some guys that build round curved decks and some guys that do super modern designs. Some guys that do landscape and hardscape too. Some guys that do, it's going to be a sampling of everything, which is how it should be.
Yeah. I'm excited about that.
There we go. Join the Facebook group. Number 2, educational sessions. So if you've not been before, usually the day or two before and or during the show, they have these educational seminars that happen alongside as well. So there's always a variety of topics. There's the same suspects there this year that have been kind of running these trainings the last couple of years. So like the Legacy Deck crew, Chris and Amy. I think Brendan Casey is doing one as well, along with Andy Henley and some, I think Gord from Wood Bullies doing something. I think Sean from Premium Outdoor Living, I think he's doing something. So it's all these guys all the guys we were just talking about being these big influencers are now doing these trainings. Is
Glenn going to be there with some code stuff?
I don't know that for sure, but probably. He usually is a familiar face on it. I don't know that for sure.
And so usually those are put on, this is usually a NADRA stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
That sort of puts these classes together.
Yep.
And so that's good. The idea behind that North American Deck and Rail Association is that they're trying to drive this industry forward as well. And so Heather and Pops do a pretty great job. They have, I would say probably limited resources compared to what some of the bigger brands are and bigger companies, but I think they do a great job. And these educational classes are, lots of people find a ton of value in them.
Yeah. And like I said before too,
we've done one or two, I haven't sat in on a bunch, that's for sure. But.
Yeah. If you've done them before, then maybe it's nothing new. Like it's not something you necessarily need to do every year because sometimes the topics are very similar. But if you've never been to them before and you're curious about like, how do I manage my social media better?
Yeah,
well,
like Sean might have a social media one, right?
Yeah, don't quote me on what these topics are, but I think his actually is around social media.
As it should be.
And Gord, maybe it's him, I can't remember.
Yeah.
And then if you're wondering about like, I'm struggling to scale my business and grow into a second career and whatever else, or get off the tools or something like that, well then that's something you probably want to go talk and listen to Chris and Amy. Like there's just like, if you have a specific problem, there may be a course for that.
Yeah. And it's not, these aren't all day courses. These are like they're an hour, maybe 2, right? And so like, just attend one. Yeah.
So those are really good too. If you haven't done them before, is to check those out.
Yeah.
Explore new products and technologies. So this was my original tent. The first time I ever went to a Deck Expo, this was the reason. And I think if you've never been to a Deck Expo, this should be high on your list as well.
Yes.
That said, it's arguably not the number one show for this. If you only had to choose one and your only thing you were cared about was seeing the newest and latest and greatest, then arguably that might be IBS still. Because generally that's when the big companies tend to launch their biggest products because it's the biggest show. Like it's not close. But that said, was it last year that the big like Trex and TimberTech weren't even at IBS? Is that right? I feel like neither of them were even at it.
Did they attend Deck Expo?
They haven't attended Deck Expo for a while.
A couple of years. Yeah. Like sure, I can't say that with great confidence. They had people at both events.
So one of them was like, maybe it was just TimberTech that didn't. I can't remember. But I know that a few years ago.
No, TimberTech did. They were not in for the longest time, and then they put a little 10x10 booth in one of them.
At Deck Expo.
Yeah, it must have been a Deck Expo.
IBS, though, don't you remember like a couple, 3-4 years ago? Probably 2019 would be my guess. And I don't remember where it was. Orlando. It doesn't matter. Vegas or Orlando.
It had to have been. I haven't been to Orlando.
Okay, then it was Vegas.
I've never been there.
That Trex and TimberTech were across the aisle from each other in these two gigantic displays.
That was
like
so
two
silly.
booths.
It was such a
And they were
waste
just
of
like in each other's shadow. It was like a bit of a showdown. And then I feel like all of a sudden a couple years later they weren't even at the show anymore. I was like, what happened here? You went from a $3 million booth to not even at the show?
Right.
Okay.
Because what they probably did was they probably spent $3 million and then didn't gain any more customers. And they're like, well, what are we doing?
Yeah,
right?
Could be.
The return was negligible.
That said,
so anyways, hopefully they're there.
They like maybe they don't have things to show off, and that's why they choose not to go with a specific year. Maybe it's like we don't have anything new coming out, so maybe we don't. I'm not saying that's why they didn't go, but if you're there for new products, chances are the new products are going to be there. So you want to see like the Owens Corning structural lumber composite framing.
It will be there.
That's there, right? That was at Expo and IBS, I think.
Yes.
So you want to see that, you're going to get a chance on that. You want to see like some new aluminum framing systems, that's going to be there. So if you're interested in those kind of latest and greatest, so
Fortress will be there with steel framing because they're pushing that, and they're like their pergolas, that will be there.
Yeah. So this is not a big show. Like Deck Expo is not a big show, just to set the expectation a little bit. The
it
deck
used to be
section of it is not very big.
Yeah, it used to be a bit bigger, right? Because they were with JLC, and it was like a home remodeling. Now it's with Pool Spa Show.
Which, when that happened, we were like, sweet. That's
amazing.
A way better alignment.
Because I thought it was going to be, actually it's called a Pool Patio Spa Show, right?
Pool Spa Patio, PSP, yeah.
PSP. And so I thought the patio part
would patio, less pool.
Quite a bit bigger.
Yeah.
That's not the case.
Yeah. So what turns out to be is like one decent sized hall that's 75% hot tubs and pools, and then
hot tub show.
25% at best of deck stuff. But like those 3 or 4 rows of deck stuff that's there is like, it's valuable. Just if you don't do pools and hot tubs, then the rest of the show may not be as interesting to you as you think.
Like we might have to try and catch Pops' ear and be like, you need to negotiate to get this to like 50-50. Yeah. And try and take a little bit of real estate away from, because let's be honest, a freaking hot tub is a freaking hot tub.
Yeah. Or align with one of the fence shows or something. Would be
sure.
Like deck and fence goes hand in
hand. What else is on right now? There's a hardware show, National Hardware
Show. Hardscape and Tool Expo or something like that.
Yeah.
Kevin was talking about, which I haven't been to either. But anyway, if you want to see some new stuff, any of these shows is good, like IBS or Deck Expo. But given that Deck Expo is a little bit, it's specifically about decks. Like there's a whole section just decks. IBS is a monster. It's 28 times bigger than Deck Expo is.
Yep.
But shit's scattered everywhere. So it literally takes you 3 days to cover off all the deck stuff because it's in different halls generally, and sometimes they're kind of in one spot, but kind of not really.
Yeah.
Whereas Deck Expo, it's like you could do this in a day, no problem. So if you,
which like that, there's pros and cons to that.
Yeah.
The pros are you can fly in Sunday, check the show out Monday, hit up this networking event Monday night, and fly out Tuesday, and you lose 1 day of work.
Yeah.
Right, and then get home, go back to work. You can stay longer, work on the networking. Anyways.
Yeah.
Imagine people know how time works. So
yeah. Number 4, innovative design inspiration. So some of this will come from that networking component where it's like you get to go and talk to people who've like they're expressing their own creativity in their own way, and that might catch your eye and you might have questions. So there's part of that, but also just seeing like sometimes just the displays themselves, you get ideas from that.
Yep. Certainly.
See things. So that's just part of the communication and collaboration and sharing of information. That what comes from that sometimes is that creativity or that inspiration to innovate when you get home.
Yeah.
Like, I just met whoever who's got a unique design style. Like Sean does to a certain extent. Some people just have a style.
David from LS Underground.
Sure. So you might see their stuff on Instagram and be somewhat inspired, but then you get to actually talk and ask all the questions you've always wondered about and like nerd out for a couple hours.
How does your brain actually work? Yeah. It's like, oh, you can't be allowed in there.
Yeah. And then you get back and you're a little like, you're buzzed and you're motivated, and all of a sudden you want to put a little bit more effort into the things you're doing.
Yeah. You for sure take energy away from those shows, because when the people, like when you start to talk to guys who are that like passionate about an industry, it has you have no choice but to have that rub off on you.
Yeah,
like
it's contagious for sure.
Yeah.
Number 5, hands-on experience. So often these I guess, two things here. Sometimes if there's new tools out, this is a chance to actually use the tool without investing in the tool yet.
Yep.
So like, for example, when Camo came out with their Camo clip drive,
Yep.
or the Edge drive, the original Camo drive,
yep,
you would have got a chance to try them out at these shows long before they showed up at your local dealer, and then you could just see if you like it then without spending the $200 or $300 on the tool to try it.
Yep.
Or you might have a chance to put your hands on new material, a new clip that comes out, or whatever, a new deck board that comes out. Maybe it installs differently, and you get a chance to try it and be like, does that actually, like, I see how they talk about it in that Deck Specialist magazine ad, but getting your hands on it is a little bit different. So
Fastenmaster is really good about having product that you can always test drive, right? Which is great.
Yeah. I know the last time we were there was like the Muro gun, the drive, like the correlated screws that, again, Raven Builders uses to do a lot of his stairs, to countersink your screws for your plugs and whatnot. It just makes things a lot faster. It's like, well, that tool is there. So if you don't, because that's an expensive tool too.
Ultimately ended up in us selling one.
Yeah. Well, we didn't end up selling it because we couldn't get the bloody thing, but our contractor bought one. We sold him the screws.
Yeah.
Or we're trying.
Can't get them the screws either. Today, that'll happen today.
Long story short. Expert advice. So again, this can come from the community, but can also come from, sometimes they have like little, during the shows, what do you want to call them? Seminars or workshops?
Yeah. Sure.
Workshops maybe a better idea or better. And so sometimes that's somebody that's going to be there. Like, I have no idea what the plan is this year. I haven't looked to see if they're mentioned or not, but in the past, Jason Russell has done demonstrations there on how, like, a lot of people have experience with heat bending now, but at one point, not a lot of people did. And so he was the expert in it. He would put on little workshops where it's like, here's how this all works. And people just sit there and take it on and be like, holy shit, that's really cool. Yeah. And then get some hands on. Be like, he brings people up and be like, want to do this?
Carry this. Yep.
So that's kind of cool.
Kim Cadwig's always involved in that too.
Kim, yeah, he's always there showing you how to, like, methods for flashing a ledger board or cutting stairs or whatever. So there's always some things like that. So the experts are there, like the guys in the industry are like, that are, I don't want to say they're setting the trends. Like, a lot of these guys aren't doing anything any better or differently than other people are, but they just have the platform. So, and if you're new to the industry, then you can certainly idolize them and go learn directly from them.
But it also might validate what you're doing, right? You might be over in whatever, like you might be in Illinois doing your thing, thinking it's got to be better than this. And then you show up and it turns out, no, you're doing it right.
Yep.
So, it's good.
Number 7, market insights. So you can kind of see where the industry is going a little bit by being at these shows, because, if the new color palettes of new decking is coming out, you can kind of be like, oh, it looks like, because let's be honest, you are not investing in understanding your customer a whole bunch. Like, you're not.
Not typically, nope.
At least not outside your local area. But to see trends that might be showing up in your market, sometimes you have to watch other markets, and this is a pretty good place to do it. You're also getting to see what big companies with multi-million-dollar budgets to understand their customers, understand trends, and also influence where the market's going to go. Sometimes the trend happens after because a company decides you're going to take it there. Yeah. You get a chance to show up and see what's the latest and greatest and like what trends might be happening. Yep. And just talk to other guys too. Like maybe you're in Wyoming and you get to chat and spend some time with some guys in the Northeast that are like in really forward-thinking markets, very popular areas where trends seem to catch on first. And it's like, the shit that happens there is coming to you in the next year or two. You can kind of get a chance to fortune tell a little bit.
Right. And start like presenting that to your customers. And then all of a sudden they're like, wow, this guy's like he's so progressive. Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's like all you did was attend a show that anyone else in your area could have attended, but they didn't. Yeah. So now you
think about this from our perspective. Think about this went back like, we've been able to sell it for 5 or 6 years, but cable rail, before we were allowed to do it, correct, it was very big in some markets, and it was like we didn't have a chance to even see it here because it's not even allowed here. Correct. It wasn't allowed here. Yep. But every time we go to shows, it's like it was everywhere. Yep. And it was like, man, like, and you get to talk to the people like, is this like a big thing for you? It's like, oh yeah, like any high-end deck, like almost always gets cable rail over glass even. And it's like, really? Yep. It's like, okay, well, if and when this becomes available in our market, like human nature and psychology says that they like this, like this look. So I guess I should. And then when it's available, we jumped on it immediately. So it's like it's popular elsewhere. It's going to be popular here. Yep. So that's always nice to have those little market insights. Enhanced professional development. This is kind of ties into the educational sessions a little bit, but sometimes you can actually get certifications here as well.
Yep.
So I know that, I don't remember what it's called. There's like a deck inspection course you can take. Some of this is just like informational training. You pop into Chris Breen's talk. It's just informational and training. Some of these though, you can actually walk away with some certifications that the industry cares about, especially on at the pool side. Pool spa patio side has like a bunch of certifications that you can get for their stuff.
Yeah.
For ours, the only thing I can think of off the top of my head was that inspection course you could do at one point. I'm sure there's others, but for professional development, for you or your employees potentially, you might be able to walk away with guys who understand the ins and outs a little bit more and get to add something to their resume.
Yeah.
Brand exposure. Number 9. So some people are not going to care about this whatsoever. So they don't care about being known to anybody that's not within 6 miles of where they operate, kind of thing.
Yeah. It certainly depends what you're trying to achieve.
Right. And so we just talked about how there are opportunities to work with some brands and sometimes be financially compensated or even just acknowledged or in some capacity. Hard to do that if you don't ever get outside of your own area and mingle with these people.
Yeah. If nobody knows who you are,
yeah, how
could they ever give you anything?
Right. So get to these shows for that kind of thing. If you're looking to align with somebody, this is a good opportunity. Maybe you've got, like, I don't know what your end goal is, but maybe you're building decks today, but someday you'd like to write for the industry and Deck Specialist Magazine.
Yeah.
Or maybe someday you'd like to be a sales rep or vendor rep or whatever. Like, there's a chance to expand your personal brand at the show.
Yeah.
Maybe you currently operate in one market and you want to expand into another market. So there's a chance to expand your brand profile that way as well. So just getting your name out there and getting more well known may or may not be beneficial at the show, but depends on what your goals are.
Yep.
Competitive analysis. So this one's interesting because you may not have direct competitors at the show. You might. Sometimes you do. But you can certainly look at guys who are like, they're doing the same thing you and your competitors are doing, and you can be influenced and gather inspiration from, air quotes, competitors that aren't competing in your market. So you're not really competitors, but
yeah, more like peers.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
But you can certainly do some of that as well. Sometimes you do have competitors there. Like if you have, when this thing's in the Northeast and it's more attended, I'm sure there's probably lots of competitors that show up at the same show, and you might.
But the other thing that happens is, like, when you're there, you start to realize which of your competitors or your competition is actually trying to better themselves, their business. And so then now what happens is you 2 or 3 would end up making a bit of a bond in knowing that you guys are all trying to push that area forward. So you're in a market that has 10 deck builders and 2 of them or 3 of them are there. So now when your schedule is packed and you need to refer one of your customers to another contractor, well, now you're going to refer it to one of the guys that you saw that was at the show because they take their business as serious as you do. And whether that deck gets built by you or not, that customer had an interaction with you.
Yeah.
So you want to send them to a contractor that does good work, right?
Yeah.
And so you know who does good work because you saw them at the show. They've invested in their company. So, sure, they're competitors, but you might build a bit of a bond with that competitor and be able to, like, respectfully operate in the same area.
Yeah. We're absolutely coming at this from a contractor's eyes.
Yes.
But if we think about this from a vendor's eyes or manufacturer's eyes, then these last two probably become more relevant to that audience too.
Okay.
I wasn't like, when we sat down, we're like, let's do a podcast about why you attend Expo, why you attend Deck Expo. It was from the mindset of a contractor. But now just pausing here for a second, it's like, if you're a brand, if you're a new product that's trying to get brand exposure, one, it's like, well, how about actually displaying at the show?
Sure.
This other angle.
Yeah,
it's probably more important for that even.
Yeah.
And then the competitive analysis too. So you make a certain type of deck clip or whatever, and like you have a chance to go and see what your actual competitors are doing because they have booths there too.
Yes.
And see, like, are they lined up? Are they getting a lot of attention? What is it about their products that people are liking versus mine? Can I go sneak into this little demonstration they're doing here?
Yeah.
So from a vendor's perspective, it's quite important as well. Customer interaction. So again, this one is probably more vendor focused, because if you are a vendor and your customer is a contractor, well, you've got a pretty engaged group there at this show. Not only of like people who may actually use your product, but it's the ones who are most invested personally in growing their business and wanting to use new products too. Yep. Early adopters are there.
Yeah, they have paid thousands to show up.
Exactly.
So,
and then also I would say this can, from a contractor's perspective, come back home too, because you get to like use the fact that you go to these trade shows as a selling proposition for yourself. You just talked about it a minute ago. It's like the guys who take their business more seriously are at the shows learning and discovering. So post that stuff in your social media, post on your website, talk about it when you're talking to customers. Hey, I saw this because we attend these shows every year. And it's like, then the customer's like, oh, these guys are serious. Like, this isn't just a guy with a half ton and a skill saw. Like, these guys actually go to shows. They're known in the industry kind of thing. So that customer interaction can be good from both the vendor perspective and the contractor perspective.
Yep.
Getting a global perspective is number 12. So this is like much similar to market insights, but on a grander scale. It's like, it's pretty easy to just operate within your own little halo and understand the goings on in your market. But sometimes you need to have a bigger picture in mind too. And I know that for us personally, there's been products we've seen at the shows where it's like, they're absolutely a global product. They're not huge in the US or in Canada yet. I'm thinking of things like, the outdoor aluminum framing is really cool, and that's an Australian product.
Yes.
I'm thinking
that decking with the rubber surface.
Come on.
Nope. I knew, like,
Not talking anymore until I think of it.
I knew exactly where you were going when you started to talk about it. I was like, oh yeah, I remember that stuff.
Yeah, I know the brand as well as I know Trex. Like, this is not something I just heard about. I've known this for years, and for some reason the names escape me right now. Yep. People are shouting at their radios right now. Anyway, stuff like that, where it's like, that's the number one brand in the UK and a lot of Europe. Like, it's huge, but here, still relatively new. So it's like, what trends are happening outside of our bubble that may end up coming into our market? So you can get that perspective at these things as well, because generally if those companies and those products are trying to break into this market, they end up at these shows. So why do I want to say it starts with an M, but I just can't place it? Awkward silence until you figure it out.
You'll just have to keep going.
Number 13, marketing ideas. So this can be used in a variety of ways. So from a contractor's perspective, again, you can certainly look and talk to other contractors about what they're doing, what's working for them. These courses often have a marketing component to them, like I said, social media thing. But also I've found, because we do trade shows in our local markets for our audiences, if you do trade shows, there's no better way to be inspired than walking around other trade shows to see how people set up their booths and how they engage and talk to their customers and whatnot. So you can be inspired from that perspective as well. But you also get a chance, like, I'm the kind of nerd, I'm a marketing nerd, so I'll notice when guys are wearing certain clothing and be like, that's really cool. I should order a bag like that. Or how they're branded, how they carry themselves, that kind of stuff I notice. So if you're into looking for new ways to expand your brain from a marketing perspective, then you can be inspired at these kind of events as well. You still have nothing?
Nope.
Come on.
Yeah, it's like the
Millboard.
Millboard.
Millboard. I was like, it's M, but I was like, why can't I think of it?
Yeah, I was like veranda, Novawood.
No, Millboard.
Millboard.
14, skill building. So chance, again, some of these kind of tie into each other a little bit, but again, a chance to learn how to do things differently, or tips and tricks or whatever, right? You might go there and be like, we've always picture framed for, or framed for picture frames this way with ladder blocking. But so when the guy tells you, like, oh, have you ever thought about doing flat blocking and taping it? It's like, oh, there's pros and cons to that. You might do your miters differently on your deck boards. You might flash the house differently. You might build your stairs differently. Like, you can learn other ways to do things.
Yeah, and the guys will have, like, different contractors will have different pictures on their phones, right? Some guys pocket screw their miters, and some biscuit them, and some do both, and some don't do miters. Some are like, I don't ever do miters.
Yeah. So there's definitely a way, and through those workshops too. So So if you're a little bit more, if you're not shy, sometimes you can get up and be involved in those workshops and get your hands on. Mentioned that before too, but
It also works for brand exposure. Put your hoodie on.
all of these things.
Get in front
There's
of
really
people.
only 4 points here. We just broke them out into 15,
We needed 45 minutes, so
right? Community building, number 15. Final community building. There's something to be said about just like getting together and mingling and talking through things with other people that understand where you're coming from. I can promise you that like you're probably not going home and talking to your husband and wife about that deck you built today and how you could have done things differently, and you know the stress that you're under because somebody's not paying, or you know, some unfortunate thing happened. I did a quote and forgot a zero. Like those kind of conversations are pretty tough to have with people who don't know where you're coming from.
yeah, they're not empathetic because they don't live it.
Yeah.
This group does.
Yeah.
Every day.
And there's a good chance they've been maybe even experienced that exact scenario. Oh shit, I did that once.
And
Yeah.
they'll tell you how they handled it.
One time I had a quote, I was supposed to be 157,000 and I quoted at 15.7. And I was like, how'd you handle that? Well, like this, how'd it go? So
I went bankrupt and I started a new company,
Yeah.
and I don't. Now I add zeros.
yeah. Now, if anything, I'm putting an extra zero on it just in case. But there's a chance, yeah, just being part of that community, it encompasses all the previous 14 points. Like you can learn from that community, you can build your skills, you can be inspired, you can learn marketing, there's just so much that comes from it because that community is so diverse. It's the same but diverse. You've got people who are like single operation, owner operator, he's on the tools, he does it this way, he has a very successful business, and here's why. Then you can talk to some guys who are like, yep, I used to do it like that, but I got off the tools, I now have 9 crews, you know, we have 2 locations, and we're doing $8 million a year. And like, oh, sweet, okay. Oh yeah, me, I like we've got 2 crews, but we do $8 million a year on 2 crews. How? Like, okay,
Yep.
like there's just so many different. There's no right way specifically on how to run your deck business. There's a lot of different options you have in front of you. So, and you may not know which way you even want to go, but here's a chance to be involved in a community where there's certainly somebody that's doing it every type of way that you can
Absolutely.
interact with and
Yep.
learn from without doing it the hard way.
Yep. And I believe that most of the people that attend these shows have a demeanor much like you. That's how they ended up at the show.
Yeah.
That's why they're there.
Yeah.
And so I would say don't be afraid to walk up to people. Don't be afraid to ask questions. They'll talk to you.
And it doesn't stop there either. These relationships you build and communities you become a part of, they exist all year round. It's just that the communication between shows becomes digital.
Correct.
So now you're chatting on Instagram groups. Like there's groups all over the place. There's always groups that we're dinging off on.
Yep.
We're probably in 9 different groups.
Yep.
The Facebook groups, I'm probably in 15 Facebook groups.
Yep.
So you don't have to be at the show to be a part of the community, but it sure helps to bring it all home and you get to meet everybody face to face and
Yep.
learn and do things you can't just do by making a post on Facebook.
Yeah. It's a good icebreaker to get into that space, right? So
100%. Yeah. Yeah. Get into those Facebook groups first. If you have never been to Deck Expo and you're thinking about going this year, get in those groups first and start to meet some people, start to recognize some names, you know, find out where people are staying so you can be close to the action kind of thing, which I found out is maybe a little bit harder than
yeah,
I think.
because there's a couple of hotels in Vegas. So
Everybody's everywhere. It's like there wasn't really one place that people were stuck in, but
that's okay. Like you also don't need to like spend your whole time there with the people.
That's right.
Like you're in Vegas, so go check out a show and
You
Yeah,
can
like-
stay at Sahara if you want and walk back and forth to Convention Center with Wade. And I.
yeah.
Okay, well,
there's lots to do. So
if you've never been, Deck Expo is right around the corner. The show actually runs November 13th to 15th, so it's coming up. When this podcast goes live, it's exactly 4 weeks away. There's lots of places to stay, so you just got to book your flight and figure out the stay part.
yeah,
It's easy enough to get a place even yesterday. So,
Yep.
If you do plan on going and you want to meet up, shoot us a message at the Ultimate Deck Shop on Instagram or any Facebook platform. And if you want to or any social platform, and if you want to get in on that old school deck builders meetup, then just same thing. Send us a message. We'll add you to the group, and then you can kind of follow along.
as long as you're not a vendor.
Right.
If you're a vendor, you're not getting into that group.
Yeah.
You're not allowed.
Yeah. No sponsors, please. So, what do you think, Wade? Are you excited for this one, for like Expo this year, or is it just like more of the same?
I'm excited for a bunch of different reasons. I'm excited for that Monday night meetup,
I think
the
that'll be
old school meetup, right?
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that. I don't know that I have seen any new products that are coming out that I'm like itching to check out. So there hasn't been any foreshadowing of new products that you need to go and see.
That's a good point. I feel like last year there was a bit of buzz about whether
There was a little
certain
bit of
things
buzz.
that were going to be there.
This year, I don't think that there hasn't been any buzz. That doesn't mean that there won't be, but
So we're a year further ahead into like TimberTech's aluminum framing and Fasten Masters. What are they calling that thing again?
they have that joist system
Yeah. Shit. My brain's not working today. So
because it's morning.
yeah, the open web truss system. They got a name for it.
Yeah,
It's kind of a cool.
there's
name
a
too,
few
but-
people that have been using that as well. So there'll actually be people that'll be able to give. There was contractors that'll be able to give you some feedback on that.
Yeah.
right.
I don't know if they're going to be there. They weren't there last year, but they might be there this year.
Yeah.
Not sure. But I'm getting excited. I do think that meetup's going to be fun. I'm excited to. I don't know if I feel this way every year and I fail on it, so that's why I'm like hesitant to be too pumped about it. But like, I really actually do want to go, like, see products and like see new. Holy smokes! Did you hear that?
Yeah, you're hungry.
I'm ready for lunch. I'm excited to hopefully see some new products and actually engage in that part. I think often you and I end up caught up in the podcasting because we're often doing live podcasts with a vendor there in some capacity. And it's like that ends up, that adds so much, like your mental capacity is spent on that. And then you have to be somewhere at
It's
certain
like-
times. And then you're like,
And it always takes up 3 to 4 hours. 1 hour of podcast easily takes 3 hours.
yeah,
because
and
you
then
get there,
it
set up.
just takes away how much effort and care you can have for the show itself.
Yep.
So I'm excited to not do podcasts and go there with specific intent to do all the things that we just mentioned in this list.
Yeah.
Mingle,
Mine is like,
community,
yeah.
products.
I'm excited to see people again. Like I'm excited to, our acquaintances, our friends in the industry that we haven't seen since January.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to meeting all of those guys and just chatting again. I always like that.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite part of the show.
So if you plan on going, we will see you there because she's not too far away. So shoot us a message. See you in a month.
Hey, thank you for listening to the Ultimate Deck Podcast. Now you know what we're about. Check the site, come and shop. UltimateDeckShop.com. Hit us right away for sponsorships or tell us if you want to collaborate. Let's go. Check us out on any social networks. Thank you for listening.